The Toyota Tundra's powerful, available iForce V6 engine means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. To your neighbor, it means helping them with their new chainsaw carving hobby. To your cousins, the Tundra means as they jump off the boat onto the sandbar. To your co-pilots, the Tundra means an extra comfortable journey. And to you, the Tundra means whoa. Test drive the Tundra at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. See packages and options at Toyota.com for feature availability.
Every day, Children's Health is pushing the boundaries of incredible care for kids. With groundbreaking research, innovative medical technology, and an award-winning team, Children's Health pushes for more cutting-edge treatments every day. Our relentless care teams work tirelessly to give kids the care they need for the future they deserve. Together, we're providing more incredible care for kids across Dallas, Plano, and beyond.
Hey, I'm Jackie, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit is the chicken. It is golden brown, so juicy, so delicious. It's the perfect savory start to my day.
Hey, I'm Matt, and the little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit is the freshly baked, flaky, buttery biscuit. When I take a bite, it's kind of like, crispy, soft, crispy. Crispy outside, soft interior, crispy chicken. There's really nothing like it.
Start your day with the Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit, available on the Chick-fil-A app. Real Chick-fil-A guests paid for their testimonials.
The FC Dallas pregame continues on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
It's really just it's really just an amazing feeling to be able to represent this club and lead it into 2025. This place has been so near and dear to my heart for so many reasons, from playing and coaching. So I'm really anxious and excited to hopefully bring a brand and a style of play that fans fall in love with and endear themselves to and believe and get behind it. And that's what we need. We're going to need their support. But these guys are working hard. They're doing all the things we're asking them to do. I think we're turning corners every day, and for all the right reasons. And so I'm just, really blessed to get the opportunity to be a part of such a great organization and get a chance to lead them on the sideline. Yeah, we're going to try some things that maybe have our curiosity. So we're not going to, the concepts and ideas that we have for Friday are just mainly out of curiosity to make sure that we've checked all the boxes. We're still, again, learning profiles of new players and new, majority of staff's new. So we're toying with some things that, again, preseason is the time to toy with it and experiment. And so I'm sure Houston's going to do the same thing. But, yeah, I don't think either team is going to show their exact cards. But players are players, and they play the game. And so hopefully the emotion is there, and the ability to compete and understand that, yes, it's a preseason game, but, performing is always of the utmost importance. So I expect our mentality to be big on the day and us to execute what we're asking them to do. Just stay aggressive in our style. I don't want to see safety to be safe, and And I've told these guys to go fail aggressively. That's one of our mottos is, and so that's just what basically, and that's just with and without the ball. So that's what we're paying most attention to is these things that we've been talking about for weeks since we entered the preseason. Are they growing in these concepts? Are they coming out more and more? Are we just staying the same, or are we seeing less of what we're asking them? And so my hope and what I've seen so far is we keep growing each game with more and more of the things we're asking them to do. And so I expect that to be the same. That's what preseason's about, is to keep growing in your style of play and on both sides of the ball, and making sure that when game one rolls around, that everybody is believing that we're in the right place at the right time.
Super excited. We had a really successful trip in Portugal. So we prepared. I think tactically, we're starting to understand more of what the coach needs from us, and it's another great opportunity. No, I think any game we're stepping into, it's to compete and win. It doesn't matter if it's preseason, and I'm not just saying that. I think we're really trying to instill a mentality here, and Eric's trying to do that, as well as their the coaching staff. So it's been an ongoing discussion, and no, we're ready to compete. I think we want to be we want to be a much more intense team. We want to be direct. We want to play forward. We want to get in behind. We want to be creative. I think we want everything a fan would want to see on a Saturday. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of our mentality right now.
UT Southwestern is building a future without cancer. It begins with a discovery that becomes a breakthrough, that inspires the new treatment, that transforms the care, that changes your story for good. The only NCI-designated comprehensive cancer center in North Texas, UT Southwestern Simmons Cancer Center.
At WinStar World Casino and Resort, we know what it means to be a star. With over 10,000 of your favorite games, WinStar is the place to feel like a star. Our lavish modern pool complex, WinStar is the best way to get the star treatment you deserve.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
The FC Dallas pregame continues on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
everybody about how today's going to look.
Yeah, so our broadcast is going to cover the first 2 playing sections, which is going to be 45 minutes, a traditional half with the first team. 30 minutes after that, we expect the starters to continue for now a total of 75 minutes. We'll broadcast those 2 periods, and then after that, there will be 2 further periods for that, the depth players to get their opportunity to, continue to build fitness, build cohesion. We'll see the likes of Logan Farrington, Nolan Norris, and that. It'll be 2 30-minute periods for those. We will not be broadcasting that, but of course, highlights and all the information you need can be found on FC Dallas social media. So that's how the day is going to go. 4 periods, 45, 30, 30, 30.
And you should tell everybody, I think, that we're going to stick around for some of that, and then we're going to do sort of a modified post-game show because we're mostly going to talk about guys at first team, who did what, how they did, and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Stick around, and we'll break down that first 75 minutes as we kind of watch on and the reserves continue to play. And we'll catch you up if anything exciting happens. If Nolan Norris hits a 40-yard screamer, we'll definitely make sure to let you know.
We will.
I mean, if that happens, I'm just going to make the whole post-game show about that, as the Nolan Norris agenda is squarely in my corner here. But that's going to do it for this edition of the pregame show. When we return, it'll be Ryan and Steve getting ready for preseason action here at Toyota Stadium. It's FC Dallas versus Houston Dynamo. Both teams in a new-look situation here in Frisco. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer here on the FC Dallas app.
Hey, I'm Jackie, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit is the chicken. It is golden brown, so juicy, so delicious. It's the perfect savory start to my day.
Hey, I'm Matt, and the little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit is the freshly baked, flaky, buttery biscuit. When I take a bite, it's kind of like, crispy, soft, crispy. Crispy outside, soft interior, crispy chicken. There's really nothing like it.
Start your day with the Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit, available on the Chick-fil-A app. Real Chick-fil-A guests paid for their testimonials.
At WinStar World Casino and Resort, we know what it means to be a star. With over 10,000 of your favorite games, WinStar is the place to feel like a star. To get the star treatment you deserve.
It's almost time for kickoff on the FC Dallas Radio Network. Now, let's join our broadcast team.
Well, Eric Quill is back on the touchline at Toyota Stadium. This time, though, he leads FC Dallas for the first time here in 2025. Back at home in Frisco against a historic rival in the Houston Dynamo. Preseason action here on the FC Dallas Radio Network. My name is Ryan Figert, and I'm joined for today's action by Steve Davis. Steve, welcome to 2025. What a way to start it with a Texas Derby.
Man, good to fist bump you there. Good to be here. I'm excited about soccer. I know you guys are all weirded out that they're playing a Texas rival in their preseason game, but Jimmy Crack-Corn and I don't care. I'm just excited to be here, man.
And it's a rival. We talked about that on the podcast this week, kind of the weirdness of playing your rival in preseason. But it's another team that's really in flux. I think if you think FC Dallas has had a lot of turnover, Houston's the same. Both teams have seen 2 DPs go away. Probably one of their best players leave. Coca Carrasquilla for Houston, Jesus Ferreira for FC Dallas. So this is the first chance to see what these teams look like in 2025. And we're going to take you through all the action as Houston, unfortunately, is not wearing numbers. They're wearing gray and black, moving from left to right, and we'll try and get the names right. No promises there. FC Dallas, though, wearing the red and blue home kit, moving from right to left as we are underway here from Toyota Stadium. The remnants of the FCS championship game still out on the field as these two teams take it for the first time in 2025. Grass is perfect, though, Steve, as it always is here at Toyota Stadium. Going long over the top, the Dynamo with alley-oop. Shaq Moore retreating, and he's going to concede a corner at first of the match.
First of the match, as I keep our highly unofficial stats over here, the old tally system.
We're going to rely on you for that.
I won't let you down.
Looks like Jack McGlynn, the new signing for the Dynamo, across to take it. That means it'll be an outswinger with the left foot. McGlynn fresh off a maiden USMNT goal, a banger against Venezuela. Shortly after traded to the Dynamo. Swings this cross in towards the penalty spot, and that one's cleared away by Lalas Abubakar in his first action in an FC Dallas jersey here at Toyota Stadium. Second phase of the set piece, McGlynn sends another ball in towards the back post. That one's overhit, and it's going to end up on the corner flag for a throw just about as deep as it can be for Marco Farfan.
Defending set pieces, defending corner kicks specifically, a little bit of an issue as a team was in Portugal, but as we talked about on the podcast, which everybody should listen to, I'm not too worried about it. I don't think they have spent a lot of time working on those defense set pieces yet. They will before the regular season gets going in earnest.
First touch there for Pedrinho, trying to combine on the left with Julio. Pedrinho, the star of the North Texas team that won MLS Next Pro last year. Here's Petter Musa with his first touches. Nice flick away from him by Griffin Dorsey, who might have some bad memories here at Toyota Stadium last year. He was sent off and what was ultimately a 2-0 FC Dallas win here at home. Artur looking to spread the play for Houston, out to Aliou on the left. Artur really the only consistent guy across these 2 seasons. He's lost his 2 midfield mates in Coco Carrasquilla and Hector Herrera.
As we talk about the difference of how these teams are sort of rebuilding a little bit, you know, the difference in Houston and Dallas has had change all over the field, whereas with Houston, it's mostly those designated players that have changed.
Ball over the top, and the flag is up, and correctly so, I believe, from our vantage point against Ibrahim Aliou.
Because while Houston has certainly had a big identity change with the absences now of Carrasquilla and Hector Herrera, the players around them, for the most part, are about the same.
They brought in Ezequiel Ponce, the DP striker.
Jack McGlynn.
Halfway through last season. He got 5 goals in 10 games, so a decent return in limited minutes. Here he is on the turn, coughs it up to Pedrinho. Pedrinho does well to ride a challenge from Aliou. A lot of space for him here on the halfway line. He gets it out to Bernard Kamungo. First chance for him, 3 minutes in, to run at the back line. Puts the ball in behind for Moore on the overlap. Moore with the cross in towards the penalty spot. Defended away by Mikael. First corner for FC Dallas on the way.
Well, there's the good verticality that Eric Quill wants, you know, as Dallas gained possession. Really, the first time they've had a little bit of possession. Really nicely weighted pass there from Pedrinho into Shaq Moore, who's getting up the right side very quickly. Turns into an early corner kick for FC Dallas.
Yeah, good sprint up the right there from Moore, showing his speed and winning a corner. It's going to be taken by Sebastian Leggett. Will be an outswinger from the far side. Left arm raised for the veteran midfielder. Swings it in. And Ibeagha gets ahead to it. He scored against Houston last year. This one's over the top. No harm done that time, but it was a well-worked set play. He did get a free header.
Yeah, I think same thing for Houston there. It's not really good set-piece defending. Ibeagha with the really just jumping a little bit early. Otherwise, I think he could have gotten something on frame there, but Houston not with the best set-piece defending. But same thing, I think a lot of these teams, they work on shape. They work on trying to figure out things out personnel-wise, and then things like set pieces come just a little bit later in preseason.
Tarbell goes route one. Abubakar thought he got shoved in the back. He got ahead to it, but possession stays with the Dynamo. Dorsey, as he does, making a marauding run up the right, closed down by Farfan. Sviatchenko combines with McGlynn. Good feet there from the Danish defender under pressure from Julio, and the Dynamo switch the field now the left side with Steris. Dallas sitting in the mid block. Here Abubakar and Ibeagha arcing directions. Here's a combination from the Dynamo. Turned over though to Leggett, who immediately finds Musa, and out to Kamungo. Now Dallas looking to counter into the Houston half. Dynamo do well to get numbers back as Kamungo cuts back, finds Leggett. Heavy first touch from Leggett. He tries to clean it up and win a foul. But referee says nothing doing, and it's behind for a goal kick.
I think there was definitely some contact there. Looks like it was McGlynn, but I think Leggett was going to lose control of that ball anyway, and I think that's probably what the referee assessed.
And no bailout foul, even if there was contact there for Leggett. It'll be a goal kick for Tarbell. Houston, a team that likes to keep possession under Ben Olsen, who's now in his 3rd season with the Dynamo, but we've seen them go very direct here in the opening 5 minutes as Tarbell again launches it long towards Ponce.
And Dallas showing they're going to press the goal kick there.
Great take from Ponce on the turn, shrugs off Abubakar. Low cross across the top of the 18, defended by Farfan and Garcia. With Sviatchenko onto the left foot. Julio gets the shot away, tipped from Tarbell wide to the post.
Really well executed counterattack there from FC Dallas. Anderson Julio finding a little space to get that ball on his left foot, but didn't get a whole lot of purchase on it. Rolled pretty harmlessly by that far post.
I thought Tarbell got a touch to it, but the referee says goal kick.
Honestly, I didn't see a touch. I didn't think.
But that was Pedrinho there opening up the back line with the switching ball. interesting case. Thinking about players that have made the jump from Next Pro to MLS, really the only other example is on the other side of the field today in Mikael, fellow Brazilian who was originally signed to Dynamo Dos, and they exercised the purchase option, brought him up to first team after a solid season. Pedrinho very much the same for FC Dallas. Farfan retrieves it from the Houston goal kick, finds the feet of Pedrinho. Ball in behind, again looking for Julio. And it breaks for Julio up the left. Musa makes his way into the box. Anderson, Julio, low cross in. Defended away. Pedrinho finds the loose ball, chipped towards the back post, but over the bar.
Another really good corner kick there from another good counterattack there from FC Dallas. That one not amounting to a corner kick, but am I going to put a little tally mark down for the Pedrinho chip? Is that a shot, or was he trying to find the far post there, you think?
With him, we never know. His goal in the Next Pro final was, kind of defied all logic and expectation with the backheel flick to win a championship game. So I think we could go with a shot, to be honest.
It's already been recorded. It's official.
Thank you, official statistician Steve.
Again, FC Dallas looking like they want to press goal kicks here. We see a lot of teams doing that. So Houston probably doing what they did a second ago, and they'll just go to the second or third level and just go right past the press.
Ponce has done well, honestly, with these direct balls from the goal kick, causing problems for the FC Dallas center backs.
He's a handful, isn't he?
Abubakar back to Martin Paz, who we haven't mentioned is wearing the armband today, continuing to do so here in preseason. Moore, nice direct ball into the feet of Musa, tries to find Kamungo, leaves it just behind him, turns it over to McGlynn. Sviatchenko, cross from the right side, headed away by Wallace Abubakar.
Good moment there from Abubakar, who honestly has had a little bit of a shaky start so far, but maybe that'll get him going.
Garcia now carrying up the Dallas left, finds Julio wide of him. Julio with Garcia running beyond him. Pedrinho now top of the box into Kamungo, set back for Anderson Julio, shot blocked by Mikael. Another flowing attack up the left side for Dallas. And now Farfan with a chance to cross, swings it in. Last touch off Sviatchenko behind for a Dallas corner.
Well, you have to say, in the first 9 minutes, FC Dallas wasting absolutely no time to get forward every time they've gotten the ball.
And this is what I've been trying to tell people as one of the only people who's been able to watch the games in Portugal. This team is going to be vertical. They're going to be, they're going to absorb the pressure, and then they're going to counter if they're not going to be the ones to force turnovers in the press. As Legette's setting up for an in-swinging corner from the near side. 2 arms raised this time, indicating something to his teammates as he swings it in, looking for Abiaga, headed away by Aliou. Garcia in a battle for the second ball, retrieved by Ponce. Nice combination up the field here from Houston. They just checked back as opposed to advancing the counter as Bassi was fouled by Abiaga. I think Abiaga might have said something the referee didn't like too much. No card though. Of course, officials going to be a little more lenient in preseason with things like that. McGlynn out to Aliou. Defended by Shaq Moore, forced all the way back now to Mikael. Immediately put under pressure by Musa. And he turns and goes back to Tarbell. 10 minutes in, still scoreless. Dallas by far the better start here. Haven't forced a save out of the goalkeeper just yet, though. Here's Kowalczyk with Dorsey outside of him. Finds the right back, who swings an early cross in, and that's comfortable for Martin Paz. And applause from the spattering of season ticket holders here to watch the team for the first time in 2025.
Speaking of first time, I believe, first time Martin Paz has had to handle the ball with his hands, correct? 11th minute.
And it was a pretty comfortable one off a miss-hit cross from Dorsey.
So tactically, people might be interested to know Wallace Abubakar playing on the right side as the center back. It's Abiaga on the left side. Both of those guys are right-footed, so depending on how you think about that, could be just a little tricky for one of them. Right-footed center backs playing on the left can just change the angle a little bit.
Houston in possession here. Dallas sitting in the mid-block, the defensive line 20 yards or so outside of their own 18.
You look at FC Dallas right now, Ryan, you see that they're really compact. The 3 lines are really glued together pretty well.
Here's Bassi now trying to find space in between those lines. Aliou outside of him, swings across in. That went all the way through without a touch for a goal kick.
And it's interesting that that was one of the first things that Eric Quill talked about, was keeping those lines glued together, moving forward as a unit, moving backward as a unit. Although moving forward as a unit is going to be a little trickier because they get forward very quickly. So we'll see how that works out. Defensively, though, they look pretty well glued together to me.
Well, FC Dallas season tickets for the 2025 season are going fast. Remember, every home game in 2024 was a sellout. As an FC Dallas season ticket member, there's a host of benefits that make this the best option in sports. You can find the membership that's perfect for you at fcdallas.com/memberships.
Yeah, that east side under construction this year, I think seats are going to be even more at a premium.
Definitely get your name on the list to come watch the team in the new season. Here's Kamungo popping up centrally. Turns possession over to Sviatchenko, who goes long towards Ponce. Header won by Ibiaga.
Nice job there, Ibiaga, finding Leggett on a difficult header instead of just clearing it out, but actually finding a teammate with the clearance.
Pedrinho does well to keep possession under pressure from two defenders. Julio currently in the middle as the central striker with Musa on the left and Kamungo on the right. As it's Shakmore with the ball wide for Dallas. Now a long ball over the top. Garcia looking for Musa. Header won by Dorsey. Garcia not afraid to use that passing range to try and stretch the field. Saw that in over 50 appearances with North Texas SC. The teenager getting his first real look with the starters here in preseason, having moved up as a homegrown player for FC Dallas in the offseason. Time on the ball for Artur. Pedrinho with a light pursuit. McGlynn now under pressure in the midfield, does well. Finds Artur, gets past Leggett, and Kowalczyk from the right side. Finds Aliou, quick combination there with Bassi. Aliou shapes to shoot, and it's right at Martin Paz. His first save of the game.
Yeah, first shot for Houston coming in the 14th minute, but as you said, quite comfortable for Paz.
Paz going to set this at his feet, invite the pressure on. Houston just waiting to press high on the edge of the 18. Left-footed pass out to Abubakar on the Dallas right. Now up the right side, it's Shaq Moore. Some green grass ahead of him, tries to put the ball in behind for Musa. Not quite on the same page as the striker there, and Mikael retrieves it for Houston.
Musa hasn't touched the ball a lot, 15th minute now, and he got a little frustrated at that one, the attempt for him, but just not finding him, not finding the angle that time.
Houston advancing it up the left side now with Bassi. Right on the halfway line, checks back for Steris. Signed a contract extension in the offseason, the veteran defender. There's a ball direct over the top, looking for Bassi. Aliou's there, and Shakmore does well to head it back to Martin Paz. A little bit of an awkward one, well dealt with by the veteran right back. Dallas did a lot of good work in the opening 10 minutes on the counter, struggling a little bit to build up in possession, but this is good work. Martin Paz finds Garcia, Leggett finds Shaq Moore, and now Moore trying to go all the way back to Paz, gets it wrong, and right on cue, a mistake in the build-up leads to a Houston corner.
Yeah, a couple of times the build hasn't looked great in terms of playing balls back to Paz, have put him in trouble a couple of different times. Not big trouble, but just a little bit of trouble, and then that time, Shaq Moore, I think, just mishit that ball. Goes out for a corner kick.
It's going to be McGlynn again from the far side.
You will say this though: if you're going to mishit a ball, mishit it like that. Put a little pace on it, because the other two times they put Paz in trouble, it's because they didn't quite get enough pace on the pass and allowed a shooter to allowed somebody from Houston to get in there close.
Wrestling at the back post as it's swung in. Sviatchenko gets to his feet and gets a touch to it. Musa failed clearance straight up in the air. Well, that allows Martin Paz to come and claim it.
Second corner kick for Houston. Second time that ball is dropped. The first time Abubakar was able to put his right foot on it right away and clear it comfortably, but you don't want to see those balls dropping.
Pedrinho drops it off to Leggett. He's in the left back space right now, switching it over to Abubakar.
So that's a problem with teams that are very vertical. If they get caught with the ball in the back, you know what happens, and Leggett just got it picked off his foot.
Looked like a potential foul not given, but Dallas does well to win it back, and it's Leggett on the ball with runners ahead of him. The whole front three waiting for it. as he finds Pedrinho to his left in the center circle. Pedrinho swings it wide for Julio. Matched up with Fiatchenko. He's no urgency this time to continue the counter. Instead finds Garcia, takes it over to Shaq Moore, and now Kamungo on the right.
Pedrinho tried to find Julio over there. Just didn't zip that pass in with enough pace.
Kamungo combination with Musa, top of the 18. Can't get the shot away. And the whistle goes against Dallas as the center back is down under contact from Kamungo.
Yeah, going back to that ball from Pedrinho, Dallas had another swift attack moving. And as Pedrinho has the ball in the middle, he plays a 30-yard ball out to Anderson Julio on the left side. And, you know, in MLS Next Pro, it's okay. At this level, you've got to get that ball in a little bit quicker to your wingers. Otherwise, you get not only closed down from the front, but it allowed Griffin Dorsey to recover defensive position. One other player over there recovering. So all of a sudden, instead of having the initiative and flying down the left side, you're left just to play the ball back and, you know, recirculate.
It was Mikael who's down now, still shrugged over, but on his feet as we resume play. 18th minute, still scoreless here from Toyota Stadium. First home preseason game for FC Dallas. First of two. They'll have a behind closed doors friendly against FC Tulsa on Tuesday as Mikael turns away from pressure really well there. Kamungo nearly forcing a turnover high up the field. Dallas dropping into the mid block. They went for it with the press, and now they regain their shape. Final preseason action will be in Atlanta next Saturday for FC Dallas before beginning the MLS regular season against these Houston Dynamo in Houston.
We'll be there for that.
And we will.
That's the plan.
Excited to bring you coverage of that one on the FC Dallas Radio Network as we start off the official Eric Quill era. Ball in behind, Garcia doing some good covering, and he is the latest to put a little bit of an awkward ball back to Martin Poss, but the goalkeeper sends it clear. Quick combination from Houston in the middle. Breaks for Kowalczyk in the right half space. Low cross swung in, Abubakar deals with it. Out for a throw here on this near side.
Abubakar with sort of an awkward clearance there. He just doesn't look quite comfortable here. You remember a couple of years ago, Ibiaga not having a great debut, and then he ends up being a solid defender now, basically ever since that match.
Yeah, that was a Barcelona SC out of Ecuador. Weird preseason friendly, and we were kind of like, ugh. But to your point, he turned it around very quickly after that.
A new player, you know, at any level, you want to do well for your new team. You want to, you know, earn some trust of your teammates, and so it can be a little tough out there.
And fans for the first time as well.
That's right.
In the stadium. Diagonal ball out to Dorsey for Houston on the right. The Jet closing down, and he commits a foul. You can hear what the FC Dallas inclined among us thought of that one.
I don't blame Leggett for being just a little bit frustrated there, because twice he thought he's earned fouls, and you called it a minute ago. The second time I thought he did earn the foul. This time there's a little bit of contact from behind, and then he hears the whistle.
Can't quite make out who's down. Of course, Houston not helping us out today, not wearing game jerseys with numbers on them. Just a training kit with gray.
I'm trying to go by process of elimination here. Do I see?
It's like our tour down, thanks to our producer Sam Hale for the binocular assist.
That wouldn't be good for Houston, because out of their starting midfield, he's the only one remaining, with Ache gone and Kokukarski as well.
Well, while we wait for him, and he's being assisted by the Houston training staff, we'll let you know that FC Dallas is back at Toyota Stadium for the 2025 home opener, Saturday, March 8th. The return of the Brimstone Cup, a matchup against Chicago Fire. For tickets and more information, please visit fcdallastickets.com.
That's an MLS 1.0 rivalry there. Used to be a good one. I think the rivalry's now in-state with the Houston Dynamo and Austin has sort of surpassed that one.
Well, all the original teams, as well as the league, of course, celebrating their 30th anniversary.
How about that?
Houston in their 20th season as one of the original expansion teams. Artur now getting checked out. Looks like they're checking his left shoulder potentially. Maybe a concussion test, not sure. He's going through it with the trainers right now as McGlynn sets up from the right side for the free kick. Dallas defending 5 yards into the 18. Right arm raised for McGlynn, bending it towards the back post, and Martin Poss with a diving catch. McGlynn, of course, has made his mark from set pieces in his time with Philadelphia. That's a real addition for Houston in the set piece game. Poss with a good claim there.
Yeah, Poss not really very busy for about the first 10 minutes, but a little bit busier in the second 10 or 11 minutes. And that was a good ball whipped in at a good spot at the far post.
Possession with Diego Garcia now in the center circle. No one within 10 yards of him as he spreads it out to Shaq Moore. Dallas in possession here in the attacking half with Sebastian Leggett.
We know Dallas still looking for a creative spark, probably a number 10 from somewhere in the world, and this is where you need him as teams sort of sit back. You've got to have somebody that can pick the locks just a little bit.
Pedrinho starting in that position today, trying to make that jump up from MLS Next Pro. Patrickson Delgado played some of that position for Dallas last year, and I think we'll see him in the second or at least the third period, as I think we might get our first yellow card of the game. By the looks of things, Leggett down under heavy contact. Might have been some retaliation there from Artur, who's back on the field.
I think so.
And Leggett stayed down. 2 MLS experienced veterans. Even preseason games can get feisty. I was watching Austin out in LA taking on the LA Galaxy in their preseason match. There was a fight in that one. I mean, these guys, they're out there competing whether it's for 3 points or not.
100%. I've actually seen preseason scrimmages abandoned. Not necessarily in stadium like this one, but out on the training ground where it just got so feisty that the coaches just said, well, let's just call this one before somebody gets hurt.
Boubacar goes direct. Musa wins the first header. Retrieved for a throw-in as it bounced out of play by Marco Farfan.
One of those, by the way, was out in preseason in Arizona with Houston.
I don't think these two teams have much love lost between them, no matter the stage. Even with so many new guys coming in. With fans in the stands, it's implied this one means something, even in preseason. It's back to Poss into midfield for Leggett. A sure touch from him. Bounces it over to Abubakar. Nice first time switching ball from Martin Poss right to the foot of Farfan. Fires it in to Pedrinho. Pedrinho down the line for Kamungo. In for Farfan, who's picked up the number 10 spot momentarily. Looked like he maybe didn't know what to do there. Dallas maintained possession. Julio calling for it on the far side. Leggett keeps it here on the left with Farfan. Into Musa, nice touch around the corner. Flag goes up though against Kamungo. Haven't seen a ton of Musa, but we have seen some nice quick one-touch combinations between him and Bernie, and nearly came off there.
Yeah, just didn't get the timing quite right, but he wasn't offside by much there. Just in a tiny bit early. And you're right, just haven't seen so far Musa involved most of the time when Dallas has looked dangerous. It's been good angled balls finding the wingers.
Tarbell playing in the back four right now. He's way off his line, and he sends it long looking for Dorsey. But it's Marco Farfan who gets the first touch, but loses it then to Ponce. Ponce going for it from distance with Poss a few yards off his line. And that one's harmlessly over the bar.
And interesting, in the 26th minute, a shot from, what was that, about 35 yards? Might have been Houston's best chance so far. Ponce just tried to catch Martin Paz a little bit out. Got the ball up, but just couldn't get it down.
He actually successfully completed it after a foul a couple minutes ago. Martin Paz wasn't too happy about it. So he had a sighter, but when it counted, he couldn't get it on target. Header won by Musa into Julio. Julio tries to put it in behind for Kamungo. Dealt with by Mikael and sent well clear and out of play on the far side. 25 minutes gone now. Still looking for an opening goal. Starters expected to play this 45-minute period and then a 30-minute period to follow. Garcia switches it out to Farfan. First touch back to Martin Paz. Closed down by Ponce. Left-footed ball is accurate from Martin Paz. Finds Julio. McGlynn takes it off his toes. Foot race for the ball. Musa just about loses out to Mikhail. But here's Garcia through midfield. And Houston's eventually chased back to Tarbell.
Good job there by young Diego Garcia of anticipating the moment. You know, we know from watching him at North Texas, he puts in the work every time.
He's the fitness monster in any metric, whether it's a fitness test or the players have access to all their data after training. He's pretty much always leading in terms of distance covered.
He is 18 now.
He's the one to do the running, alongside veteran midfielder Sebastian Leggett, who's he's up there as well. But I think he might pawn off some of that hard work to Diego Garcia every once in a while. Who's out now, closing down against Bassi on the far side. Ball in the midfield for McGlynn. Nice turn from him. Finds Bassi. Bassi with a lot of room to run into the attacking third now up the left side. Checks it wide for Aliou. Across the top of the box, Julio, good anticipation. Gets a foot to it, but it breaks back for Aliou. Shot from Kowalczyk's over the bar. And it'll be another goal kick. Houston with the better of the last 10 minutes or so. McGlynn really has been the standout, I think, from the Houston side. He's been impressive in just his second preseason game since making the switch.
I agree. I like Ponce too, though.
Dallas trying to play out short here from the goal kick. Ibiaga up to Farfan, into Leggett, quickly closed down. Pedrinho back to Ibiaga, awkward spot for him with two defenders. And he wanted Pedrinho to go long, but he does win a throw.
You know, you guys mentioned to me this week that you're going to be showing Houston some things, but it works the other way too. And you know, one of the things that Dallas is going to take away from this match, I can already tell you, is that Ponce is going to be a handful up there, and they're going to have to figure out ways to deal with him, because it looks like Houston might be a little bit more direct. They've lost those two possession masters in midfield, so it sort of makes sense that they would go a little bit more direct, a little bit more often. And he's a good one, it looks like, to be on the target of those.
Absolutely, both in and out of possession with the pressing too. Possession in midfield here for Dallas. Jet swings it out to Marco Farfan. Ibiaga going for a diagonal wide out to Kamungo on the right. Just overhits it. As Kamungo try to get ahead to it. Without a play for a Houston throw.
If you joined us a little bit late, it is a 4-2-3-1. It's Leggett and Diego Garcia as those holding midfielders just behind Pedrinho. Anderson Julio on the left, Bernard Kamungo on the right, right behind Peter Musa.
Julio going for the press on the Houston goalkeeper. Almost got the turnover, but here's the ball in behind. Ponce with Martin Pass off his line. He gets the intervention, breaks for Bassi, but Martin Pass able to get back in time. Houston remains in possession here in the attacking third. Steris up the left. Aliou trying to get inside Shaq Moore. Sliding tackle from Moore. Doesn't quite win the ball, but repels the attack momentarily. Now Kamungo wins a throw. And possession's back with Dallas. Martin Pass, really important intervention there.
Yeah, good anticipation, good timing, good starting position. That's exactly what you'd expect from one of the two pillars of this team. Peter Musa on one side and way up high, and then Martin Paz in the back. They have to be on top of it this year.
As good as the all-star goalkeeper has been, though, that is probably the one weakness you'd say is coming out off his line and making those decisions. So you could see him get that one right.
Well, he's always aggressive with it. The problem is sometimes he's been a bit too aggressive and gives up some penalty kicks that way.
Tarbell with an awkward one to deal with, way out off his line. Just about does enough, but Dallas is putting the pressure high up the field.
I mean, Eric Quill did say he wants his team to fail aggressively. Now, I'm not sure if that extends all the way back to his goalkeeper, but
it doesn't extend to Drew Keyshawn, the goalkeeper coach.
Fair
I don't
enough.
think. Abubakar wins a header ahead of Ponce, out to Kamungo. As much as Houston has looked to go direct a little bit more, you still see the DNA of that comfort in possession, despite the guys that have left. Here's Farfan, who beats Dorsey to the ball. That was profitable for Dallas last year in the regular season. He drew a red card in that exact situation. Garcia with the ball ahead to Leggett. Out to Farfan. Another ball ahead for Leggett. Easily spins his defender. Low cross in. Finds Pedrinho. First touch flicks up on him, and he can't get it under control.
Yeah, but a really good moment there from Leggett on the left wing. Haven't seen him that far forward very often, but made a good moment there.
Here's Musa in midfield. Ball in behind for Pedrinho. Foot race to get there, but Tarbell gets off his line in time. A little bit of a different involvement there from Petar Musa, who picked it up off the center backs and distributed for his teammates.
No, he's a good passer. You know, sometimes he's a big guy, and sometimes those balls zipped into him. Not sure what's going to happen, but once he has the ball at his feet, he's got a pretty good soccer IQ. He can make a pass like that. Found a really good angle that time.
And the front three's been a little more fluid than maybe you'd expect with that big striker up top. He's on the left right now with Julio through the middle. Kamungo on the right. Well, we've seen all three of them in all three spots. McGlynn, ball in behind, looking for Bossi. Bossi gets it wrong. It goes through for Pass.
A little over half an hour in, and neither team with a really good chance to score. Anderson Julio in the 7th minute, breaking in down that left center channel. Didn't get a lot of agency on his shot, and rolls wide by the back post. And that's really about the best chance for either team, I would say.
Kamungo spins Steris there and draws a foul in his own half. Quickly taking the free kick and spreads it out wide to Marco Farfan, who makes his way up the left side. Sebastian Leggett, some space for him to operate. Lifts it over the top, looking for Musa. Header won by Mikael, who's had the answers so far defensively. Here's Pedrinho now, edge of the D. Ball in behind, looking for Julio with the shot. And Dallas have the lead. It's a first goal in Dallas colors for Anderson Julio, and they'll hope the first of many.
I'll tell you what's the key there is the counter pressing. And I'm not certain, I don't think we're going to get a replay, but I think it's Bernie Kamungo that sort of starts all that with a good counter press action. Ball pinging around a little bit, and it's also Sebastian Leggett getting in there, getting a little further up the field, making some things happen. So that's also good to see. In the end, Anderson Julio from the right side, right around the corner of that goal area, just rolling it past Andrew Tarbell, the goalkeeper for Houston.
Yeah, I think, to my eyes, Pedrinho picks up the assist. Ball in behind from just around the edge of the D. Julio making that run from left to right. Found some space past the goalkeeper. And for a guy who hits bangers, who hits the ball hard, that one just about trickles home with as much pace as it needed. And Dallas have the lead here at home, 35th minute.
Yeah, it would be nice to see that one again, to see where exactly Tarbell was, where that beat him. Because you're right, I expected him to try to roof the ball or zip it into the near post, and it was almost like a change-up pitch that sort of fooled Tarbell a little bit.
Pass goes direct to Musa. The two All-Stars combine. Laid off for Garcia. Now Pedrinho up the left. Julio ahead of him. Turns it to Garcia.
Musa finding his way into the game a little bit more often now over the last 10 or so minutes.
It's just always so impressive how clinical he is with every touch, even when he doesn't get as many as he'd like. Calling for it here on the edge of the center circle with Ibiaga on the ball. The Houston native still with it, now drops it off for Martin Pass. Turns and has a word with Farfan. I think he wanted to make a run. This one direct, looking for Musa, but Julio's going to be the one to give chase. Mikael just about gets it back to Andrew Tarbell. Interesting to me for the Dynamo side that Tarbell has kind of cemented himself as the #1. Of course, Dallas longtime goalkeeper Jimmy Maurer now amongst the goalkeeper group for Houston. Tarbell too, don't want to take anything away from him, but he's been a career backup and now in his 30s, winning, it looks like, the starting job for the first time. Wouldn't be surprised to see Jimmy Maurer get some time after what we saw from him late in the season last year for Dallas. Probably see him in the 3rd or 4th period of this extended preseason game. Direct ball looking for the feet of Ponce. Abubakar on his case, but it goes past everybody all the way through for Pass. Time on the ball for Abubakar now with the lead. Musa battling with the center backs even as the ball's 40, 50 yards away from him, trying to angle to make a run in behind.
I counted that as the 6th shot for FC Dallas. Just taking that 1-0 lead. Houston with 3 shots, each team with 2 corner kicks.
And a little bit of a lull in the pace of this game now after the goal. Wallace Abubakar switches it over to Ibiaga. Out to Farfan. First time ball from him off the right foot, looking for Julio. And that one blasted off Dorsey, who was trying to pretend like that one didn't hurt, I think. You probably heard the sound of how much it did.
Well, you're not going to be surprised by this, I don't think, but I've been really impressed so far with Sebastian Lletget, who's on the ball right now.
And another great ball in behind. Now Julio up the left side, breaks into the 18, asking Tarbell questions, cuts it back now, top of the box. Shaq Moore's going to line up the shot, and that one's headed away. Looked like it was destined maybe for the back of the net. Crucial intervention from Sviatchenko. Right on cue there, Lletget pulling the string, Steve.
Yeah, 3 or 4 times now, FC Dallas has had the ball in those central left central channel, right central channel, and then played a really good angled ball right in behind the outside back over there. That set Anderson Julio that time off and running on the left side. He got in a good cross. I don't think Shaq Moore on the backside was the intended target, but that's where it ends up, and his shot ends up being deflected out for a corner kick.
It's going to be an in-swinger from Lletget from the near side. Whips it in, looking for Abubakar. Header won by Mikael. Helped away by McGlynn. Retrieved by Diego Garcia. Moore had a couple of chances actually in the preseason game against Brøndby as well, as sort of arriving late in the top of the box.
He was one of the better attacking right backs last year, so I expect to see him getting forward quite often this year for FCD.
Ball into midfield from Ibiaga, just misses Garcia, turns it over in the center circle. And work to do defensively for Ibiaga, who cleans it up and gets it back to Martin Paas. I think talking about left-footed or right-footed, that was the type of ball that a left-footed center back finds a little bit easier there. The entry ball into midfield on the left side. Here's a mistake from Houston, turns it over to Julio. And I thought he was fouled again. The referee hasn't been too kind with the whistle to the Dallas side today.
I thought that was a pretty good tackle there by Griffin Dorsey. There was some contact, but I thought he got it in, got the ball first and got enough of the ball.
Steve, as always, are more impartial, more kind to the referees of the two of us.
They're people too, Ryan.
They are. Garcia clearly fouled this time in midfield by Artur. And Garcia stayed down. Lletget wanted to go quickly, but the referee's going to check on him. Artur has been heavy-footed in the challenge today. He himself stayed down after a tackle from Lletget, and I think since then he's been putting his weight around in midfield.
Well, it brings up a good point, because last year the captain, Paul Arriola, is a guy, even though he was one of the smaller guys on the team, maybe the smallest, he would be the one that would go deal with that. He would be the one that would get up in Artur's face, and if that wasn't enough, he'd be the one that was willing to go take a yellow card. And I think you need some of that, so it'll be interesting to see as we talk about all the different things we're going to start learning about this new version of FC Dallas. Who is going to be that guy this year?
I think Musa has that fire in him. It's whether he can control it himself at times. Thinking back to the Austin game last year and the antics around that penalty kick he scored eventually. Ponce, nice touch out wide for Dorsey. Wide right, Ibiaga out to close him down, blocks the cross, and it breaks perfectly for Julio, who's got Musa ahead of him, and Julio just misses the pass. Sviatchenko there defensively as Musa was all alone on the halfway line waiting for the service.
And that chance for Houston, or that attack for Houston rather, generated because Diego Garcia wasn't quite clean enough getting out of the back. So just something for the young man to learn.
Oohs and ahs from the crowd. Pedrinho finds Lletget, finds Kamungo in behind. The flag is up. To me, thought he timed it well.
Well, I hate to make you correct about me, but I thought he was maybe even a step offside there. But you know what? It's really good from Lletget, who gets a loose ball, picks up a loose ball, turns, and immediately plays, what is that, about a 30, 35-yard ball right between those center backs. Good recognition from Bernie Kamungo to find that space. Second time, Bernie just didn't quite get that run timed right, but he'll get the timing on one of those as long as he keeps finding the gaps.
Those moments of transition, Dallas trying to be more aggressive, more incisive. Leggett at the heart of that here. And what is their third preseason match in 2025. Turnover from Mikael to Kamungo. Chipped ahead for Pedrinho. Lifted in behind for Julio to chase. Good weight on it. Here's Anderson Julio again. But this one defended well. Mikael making up for his mistake and pokes it behind for a corner.
Really nice through ball there. Chipped through ball from Pedrinho. And again, you know, good run, good recognition there from Anderson Julio. One of the things I'm impressed with so far is, you know, with that verticality, you got to have players up front who are ready to make the runs at the right times and want to make aggressive runs, and they certainly have so far.
A fourth corner of the match for FC Dallas. This is Leggett from the near side. He goes short, finds Farfan. Farfan immediately closed down, and that one didn't work as they hoped. Has to go all the way back to Shaq Moore in the center circle. This is the time to try those things, but that one didn't work. As now Pass goes long. Defended away by Bassi. Possession for Houston here in transition, 43rd minute. Steris checks back, finds Artur. Closed down by Musa. Musa got his hand up in the face of Artur, and he's immediately apologetic. So the whistle goes for a foul.
Houston Dynamo veteran midfielder, formerly of Columbus, won a title up there. He's been right in the middle of everything, hasn't he? Giving and getting on both sides.
It's going to be important, to your point, Steve, earlier on. With so much change in the midfield for Ben Olsen. McGlynn, one of the new faces of the franchise for Houston. On it here in the center circle. Wide with Aliou in behind. The run from Kowalczyk. Near the corner flag here. Chased down by Garcia. Top of the box, McGlynn into the feet of Ponce. Sorry, that was Artur. A little bit further forward there. Houston keeps possession up the left side. Check back for Steris. McGlynn, first time ball into Artur. Artur dinked it towards the back post. Header won by Ponce, but Martin Pass makes the save. And he has eyes on going quickly with Julio and Musa up the field. And he'll hold it for now. I think Dallas want to take this lead into the halftime break. Don't know if they'll play any stoppage time here. We're in the final minute of the allotted 45. Moore into the feet of Kamungo, who again turns Steris. He's had him a couple of times. Wins another foul. Before halftime, I'm going to let you know that Toyota Stadium is getting a makeover. Brand new roof structure that will cover every seat in the building. The 3 gorgeous new club spaces and a variety of new suites. Toyota Stadium is set to become one of the finest venues in MLS. To learn more, visit newtoyotastadium.com. Demolition has not started yet, so Toyota Stadium 2.0 still looks the same as we're looking across to the east side. 45th minute on the clock. And the whistle in the mouth of the referee. And that will do it for the first 45 minutes of this preseason friendly. FC Dallas on top, 1-0. Steve, what were your takeaways from that one, maybe on both sides?
Quick thoughts are that Sebastian Leggett looks very good. Anderson Julio looks like they have in him exactly what they thought, which was a player who can provide goals from the wing. And like the way the lines have been stitched together, but we can get more in detail on all of that after you throw us into a break.
Yeah, we'll see how long this halftime is. We're not exactly sure, but we'll take a quick break and we'll be back for halftime coverage or maybe for the next 30 minutes. We'll see.
The Toyota Tundra's powerful, available iForce V6 engine means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. To your neighbor, it means helping them with their new chainsaw carving hobby. To your cousins, the Tundra means as they jump off the boat onto the sandbar. To your co-pilots, the Tundra means an extra comfortable journey. And to you, the Tundra means whoa. Test drive the Tundra at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. See packages and options at Toyota.com for feature availability.
Defending FC Dallas home field advantage is a tough job to tackle. That's why FC Dallas has trusted General Informatics as a leader in data-generated solutions and cybersecurity to protect Toyota Stadium for over 10 years. I am Ima Chumesi, defender for FC Dallas. General Informatics, complex IT made simple.
Hello there. My name is Seychelle, and what makes the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich original to me is the punch of flavors that's unlike any other. You get the crispy tenderness of the chicken and that hint of sourness from the pickles. Ta-da!
Hey, I'm Juan, and what makes the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich original to me is you know you're gonna get chicken that's crispy, golden, and juicy. This is the gold standard of chicken sandwiches.
Order the original Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real customers paid for their testimonials.
It's time for the FC Dallas Halftime Show on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
After 45 minutes here in Frisco, it's FC Dallas 1, Houston Dynamo 0 in this first of 3 preseason games back here stateside for FC Dallas. Hello, everybody. It is the FC Dallas Halftime Show, brought to you today by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. Also brought to you by Advocare, building champions together. Sam Hale, your host here, will be joined in just a moment by Steve Davis and Garrett Meltzer as we break down the action. Only one goal in this one so far. That goes to Anderson Julio in the 34th minute, assisted by Pedrinho. This is normally where I'd bring you our halftime stats, which are brought to you today by UMB Bank. I don't have any, but I bet Steve Davis does.
I do have a couple here, Sam. I've got FC Dallas highly unofficially with 7 shots, 4 for Houston. FC Dallas with 4 corner kicks, just a couple for Houston. Those are your stats, presented by whoever you want to present them by, Sam.
UMB Bank proudly brings you those stats from Steve Davis. We also bring in Garrett Meltzer. And Garrett, I'll start with you. Your overall impressions of the first 45.
Not bad from Dallas's perspective. I thought there were a lot of good individual moments especially, but in the final third, I think, a lot of really good exchanges, little 1-2s here and there. A little worried at the other end of the field. I think Dallas is kind of looking a little shaky passing out of the back. And I will say, there are not a ton of really natural passers on the back line. So I think the lack of a supernatural 6, someone like Sho Kafumana, who's really comfortable taking the ball back there with pressure on his back and then finding an outlet pass. Without him in there, I think Dallas is struggling a little bit. The good thing is Houston's not pressing super high, so the back four have a lot of time on the ball to find a pass. But against a team that puts a little more pressure on the top of Dallas's box, I think that could bring some shaky moments. But overall, a really good half.
Steve Davis, do you concur?
I do, and it's an interesting observation there by Garrett, and I agree, and I said this a while ago, that if Eric Quill is going to really concentrate on being vertical, and I think they've done a pretty good job. I'll talk a little bit more about where I think they're doing a really good job on being vertical and making those counterattacks work. The problem is teams that are like that, they can be vulnerable in the back because previously under Nico Estevez, under Luchi Gonzalez, they spent a lot of time on build up out of the back, so they were pretty good at it, pretty clean all the way around. They knew the angles, they knew the routines. If you're going to be vertical and then you get stuck in the back by a pressing team, it can be a little tricky. We saw one Houston attack that was generated when Diego Garcia got loose with the possession in the middle. We saw 3 times where balls back into Martin Paz weren't played at the right place or really at the right pace, and that put them in trouble a little bit. So that's something that they'll continue to work on, but it's something that I think it's gonna be a theme all year, because if you're gonna be a little bit more rock and roll soccer and go forward quickly, build up out of the back doesn't get as much emphasis.
Well, we did have one goal that came from Anderson Julio, the newly acquired winger this offseason from RSL. Garrett, take me through what you saw on the only score of this one.
Well, from memory, I believe it was Marco Farfan with the ball on the left, sending across that Houston was able to repel, but not all the way out, kind of bounced around a little bit, and then it was Bernie Kamungo got a little touch on it to get to Pedrinho right at the top of the box, and he found a really clever, just almost like a trickle of a pass between 2 Houston defenders that got behind the back 4, and then Anderson Julio was there to kind of scramble it in, low shot towards the near post, right under the goalkeeper. A good little play there, not a ton of overall build-up, but really clever from Pedrinho to find that one, because that was really the only pass he could find, and he found it really well.
It was a good little clever pass, but what I would like to point out there is that goal is really created off the counter press. It was, I think, as you said, it was Marco Farfan putting that first ball in, and, as soon as that first ball is cleared, you can do one of 2 things. You can get ready to go play defense, You can play a little bit of transition defense, or you can aggressively counter press. And I think that's what Bernie Kamungo was doing in that moment. And I like the mentality. We talked about Eric Quill. I'm going to use this word again and again, I think, because he says he wants the team to fail aggressively. I like that. What that means in that moment is, Bernie, go ahead and try to win that ball. And, hey, they might get past you and they might get us a little bit in transition, but we're going to try to go win that ball right in that moment. He did here. He got enough of he got enough on it to sort of scuttle the possession out of the back for Houston, and then it turns into a goal.
Steve, we talk often about who had things to prove, who could show here. One guy who has shown a lot previously but is doing it again today is Sebastian Lletget.
I tell you what, I noticed him not only all the really good work on the ball, he's always very tidy on the ball. He makes good, safe choices. They need that today, especially as they, sort of try to figure themselves out a little bit. One of the things I really saw him doing was directing Diego Garcia, telling him, when to go close a little bit, when to be a little bit more aggressive, when to pinch in and get a little closer to him, because sometimes Diego Garcia got out a little too far, leaves a little too much of a gap in the middle, especially as they want to play into striker Ponce. So I really like that about him. I thought Lletget and Anderson Julio probably were the best players for FC Dallas.
And it's really good to see that from Sebastian Lletget, because he's not, I wouldn't say, the most natural leader, but he is probably the most senior player in this team at this point, certainly in terms of MLS games played. So to see him kind of, step up and be the leader and kind of tell guys where to go, and he's super comfortable on the ball, of course. So he's really the guy who's going to get possession, kind of calm things down, make the right pass more often than not. A lot of times we saw that from Asier Yaramendi last year. He's not here right now, so Lletget's really filling that role super well.
Garrett, I'll start here with you because I'm curious about both your takes on this. The front three that's almost a front four at times, we're seeing a lot of rotation. We're seeing Pedro Musa come out to the wing. We're seeing guys like Anderson Julio and Kamungo tuck in. That's not something we've seen often. We saw a lot more structure last year, and now it seems like there's more freedom up top. What do you think of that? Is it a good thing? What are your general thoughts on that?
Well, it's certainly different. We know Nico Estevez was really focused on positional play and in more structured moments and movements. And yeah, Eric Quill is probably much more of a coach who says, look, guys, go out there and free roam, do what you need to, pick your places based on where you see fit, and then be creative once you get the ball. And we saw a lot of that, especially between Bernard Kamungo and Pedro Musa especially. And look, Bernie's usually not one known for his combination play. He's usually kind of guy who gets out into space and creates a goal on his own. But to see him playing little 1-2s with Musa and Pedrinho is a really encouraging development from him.
Yeah, the one thing I would say about it is Bernie never looks quite as comfortable playing in those interior spaces as he does when he's out wide and has a little bit more space to run into. So that's just sort of something to watch. Whereas if Pedro Musa drifts out wide, I'm fine with that. I'm comfortable with that. Bernie playing inside, it gets a little trickier. But there were a couple of times when Bernie found that space between the center backs. Didn't time his runs exactly right, but he's finding that space. And again, he's being aggressive with the runs. And I really do love that, because one of the things that drives me crazy in soccer, and I saw it a lot, just being honest, at Toyota Stadium over the last few years, is lack of aggression in the final third, lack of initiative, losing the initiative. And so what we're seeing today, and I think we're going to see it all year, we'll see, but I think we're going to see Eric Quill wants him to keep the initiative. When you've got the ball going forward, don't stop. Don't recirculate. Don't do that thing. Go ahead and try something. You're in the final third. You've gotten that far. Try the shot, try the cross, try to beat somebody, find the angle on the pass, and that's what we're seeing so far. The other thing I really like on FC Dallas with the ball is, the key on counterattacks is you've got to find a good, clean, early outlet, right? Once you get possession, outlet fast. Sebastian Lletget has been particularly good at that. And then they're finding the angles. They're finding the wingers on the angles. The wingers understand the moment, start making the run, and then you can play that ball in behind those outside backs, and that's where Dallas has really found some joy, mostly on the left, a little bit on the right. Once Shaq Moore got free and got a cross and got a corner kick out of it. But finding that early outlet and then finding that ball in behind the outside back, that's been really good so far for Dallas.
So there's going to be 30 minutes left in this period where the starters are expected to go, and then we'll see some reserves trickle in for the remaining 60 minutes. Garrett, I'll start here with you. What do you think that Dallas needs to maybe clean up in that second 30 minutes that we're going to see?
I think it's the passing out of the back, not just the back four, but also the two holding midfielders, it being Leggett and Diego Garcia. Now, we know Leggett is usually very good at that. He's so comfortable on the ball. Didn't see the best of Diego Garcia, I thought, in that first 45, so I think he's such a talented player, but he's so young. But maybe something to prove for him the next 30 or so.
Steve Davis, what about you?
Yeah, even in a preseason friendly, the level is much higher than what Diego Garcia was playing with at MLS Next last year. So not too worried about that. I think he's a young player. He'll keep learning. He's got the work rate, so he'll put in the effort. So that one, is okay with me. One of the things I think we have to watch a little bit is over on that right side between Diego Garcia, whose starting position is sort of as that right-sided holding midfielder, between Pedrinho in the middle and between Bernie Kamungo over there. There's not a lot of defensive grit over there. None of those players are going to be known throughout their career for their defending. So I think teams will start picking on that a little bit. It'll be interesting to see in the second half if Houston picks up on that.
And just a reminder here for everyone listening, it's going to be a 30-minute second half with the starters, and then they'll break, and we'll see 2 30-minute other periods where they're going to see some more reserve players for both sides. But we will go straight to postgame after the second 30-minute period, the upcoming 30-minute period. That way we can bring you all the postgame coverage you want about the important players, even though every player is important, but the starting players, we should say, on that one. That's going to do it for the halftime show. When we return, Ryan and Steve will get you ready for the second half of action. FC Dallas leads Houston 1-0 here in preseason action at Toyota Stadium. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
UT Southwestern is building a future without cancer. It begins with a discovery that becomes a breakthrough, that inspires the new treatment, that transforms the care, that changes your story for good. The only NCI-designated comprehensive cancer center in North Texas, UT Southwestern Simmons Cancer Center.
At WinStar World Casino and Resort, we know what it means to be a star. With over 10,000 of your favorite games, WinStar is the place. WinStar is the best way to get the star treatment you deserve.
Shine and star for you to see what your life can truly be.
Every day, Children's Health is pushing the boundaries of incredible care for kids. With groundbreaking research, innovative medical technology, and an award-winning team, Children's Health pushes for more cutting-edge treatments every day. Our relentless care teams work tirelessly to give kids the care they need for the future they deserve. Together, we're providing more incredible care for kids across Dallas, Plano, and beyond.
The Toyota Tundra's powerful, available iForce V6 engine means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. To your neighbor, it means helping them with their new chainsaw carving hobby. To your cousins, the Tundra means as they jump off the boat onto the sandbar. To your co-pilots, the Tundra means an extra comfortable journey. And to you, the Tundra means whoa. Test drive the Tundra at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. See packages and options at Toyota.com for feature availability.
Second half action is about to begin on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
45 minutes down, 30 to go here at Toyota Stadium for the starting group. FC Dallas leading 1-0 after the opening frame. And Steve, we heard from Sebastian Leggett in our pregame show. He said, we're hoping to bring everything a fan wants to see on a Saturday. Assessing the way the team played, the tactics, and the energy of the first half, how far or how close are we from that?
Well, they have a lead. That's a good start, right? I think the desire to play forward quickly, to play forward aggressively, to press in certain spots, those are the fun things. And, you're sitting here looking at them in the first preseason game with 7 shots. Yeah, that over 90 minutes, that's going to be, 14 or 15. Depending on the game state, whether they're ahead, behind, but that's not too bad. That's right around average. So I'd say so far, good start for them, and a lot of things for the fans to start getting excited about.
Yeah, here at Toyota Stadium, season ticket holders invited out. There's a good amount here on the near side taking in the game as FC Dallas is out first from the locker room. They're in a huddle down to our left in the red and blue, moving from left to right here in this second period. Houston now out of the locker room in their training uniforms, gray with black shorts and gray socks, moving from right to left, doing us no favors with no numbers today. But it looks like, at least from an FC Dallas standpoint, as we expected, no changes. That means no injuries or anything to worry about from that standpoint. We expect to see wholesale changes after this 30-minute period. It'll be FC Dallas to kick off and get us back underway. Anderson Julio with the lone goal in the match so far.
And if you joined us a little bit late, Dallas in that 4-2-3-1. It's Leggett and Diego Garcia as the holding positions. Pedrinho playing ahead in the 10 spot. Anderson Julio left. Bernie Camungo right, just behind Peter Musa. The back line is, I think it's the starting back line for the year, certainly for right now. Marco Farfan left. Ibiaga and Abubakar as the center backs, and Shaq Moore on the right side.
Yeah, I think we still expect to see some reinforcements, particularly center back wise, as the transfer window has recently opened. But for now, those are your two senior center backs, the only two senior center backs signed to the roster. As we're back underway here for the second period of this preseason matchup, all the way back to Martin Paz, who launches it long, looking for Camungo. Header won by Steris. Second ball, though, won by Shaq Moore. Nice ball into the feet of Musa. Tries to go in behind for Camungo. Foot race won by Mikael, the Houston center back. And he gets it back to Tarbell. Ball in the midfield for Artur. Under pressure from Garcia. Able to keep it. And Tarbell springs the counter here.
Garcia actually nicked that one away, but it went right back to Tarbell.
Musa doing some running to get back for Bernard Camungo, who was ahead of the play. Houston building up their left side, the near side for us here. McGlynn from the edge of the 18 rolls it in for Bossi, finds Kowalczyk, set back for a shot, and this one deflects, a wicked deflection, and it finds its way into the back of the net.
Well, that attack for Houston came right down that left side. That's exactly what I said. That's where FC Dallas doesn't really have a lot of defensive grit over there. And in the end, it was a deflected shot that just sort of squirreled its way by Martin Paz.
I think it was Kowalczyk with the shot. Still trying to get a good look at it. Yeah, it does look like Sebastian Kowalczyk, the Polish midfielder, with the goal. So that knots this one up 1-1 here, just a couple minutes into the second period. Houston with the build-up on the left side and deflected shot into the back of the net. Resume play as Musa drops it off from the kickoff. Not the start Dallas would have been hoping for out of the locker room, obviously. See now how they can respond.
In the end, I don't think either of these teams is going to be too concerned with the result, but it's a soccer game. You always want to score more goals than the other guy.
I think Eric Quill wants to instill that winning mentality from day one. Something Ben Olsen, to his credit, was able to do for Houston when he came in a couple of seasons ago. They won the Open Cup and finished in the top 4 in the West in his first season. Switching ball out to Dorsey on the far side, closed down by Farfan. Dorsey goes all the way back to Sviatchenko.
It's a really good switching ball that time from McGlynn. It's looked pretty good today for Houston. Newly acquired out of Philadelphia.
Sviatchenko lifts it over the top. Brought down by Ponce. Direct ball just intercepted by Ibiaga. Fire into the feet of Pedrinho. Nice flick from him. Finds Musa. Ball in behind for Julio. Flag stays down. Foot race with Mikael. Julio just about loses out there to the Brazilian. Nice quick combination there to spring FC Dallas's number 11. And he commits a foul right by the corner flag, trying to regain possession.
Not the first time Peter Musa's played a teammate through today. He's done really well at that, I think. A couple of times exchanges with Bernie Camungo. I've seen Bernie in just a step early, but otherwise, Peter Musa doing really well. Hasn't had a lot of action around the goal mouth, but doing really well of setting up teammates today.
Well, you know what he can do if he does get that action in and around the 18-yard box. But no shots for him so far in this game. Tarbell lines up a long free kick. Sends his team up the field. 10 yards or so away from the corner flag. The veteran goalkeeper goes long. Farfan gets ahead to it. Second ball recovered by Garcia in midfield. Didn't quite find a teammate with his header. Now Leggett nods it forward, looking for Camungo. A little bit of back and forth pinball before Abubakar puts his foot through it, looking to spring Julio again. At the Dynamo there defensively. Against Bromby, Dallas was able to respond twice after going down. Show some fight to get back in the game. That was at the Estadio Algarve out in Portugal just over a week ago. Our first preseason action on home soil, hosting Houston today. Looking to respond after conceding early in this second period. Kowalczyk up the left side, sliding tackle there from Shaq Moore. Puts it out of play. Nice tackle from the new addition for Dallas.
Ryan, that's the first time I've seen Dallas really not stitched together very well. Peter Musa was up ahead, looked like he was pressing a little bit, and the rest of the team was sort of settling into a mid-block. And the end result is Houston got out pretty easily, got up the left side, and put together another good attack there.
Julio gets a foot on the ball, putting Sviatchenko under pressure, so Mikhail's forced to just hoof a clearance through to Martin Paas. From a Dallas perspective, you got to be encouraged by Anderson Julio getting the goal in the first half, showing really all of his positive qualities through 50 minutes so far.
Yeah, it really looks like he's on board with this get forward fast and get things going on the attack.
Nice flick from him, finds Pedrinho, return to the Ecuadorian, ball in for Kamungo, flick towards Musa, top of the box, can he get the shot away? Cuts it onto his left foot, and he was looking for the overlap of Shaq Moore. Pull the trigger, Petter.
Fail aggressively, right? Yeah, that's the one. He had such a good first year last year, so there's you really have to, you got to work to nitpick at his game a little bit. But one of the things I thought we saw a little bit last year was taking that extra touch inside the penalty area. It's early. You know, maybe they can keep working with that, but that time I 100% agree with you, Ryan. I would have liked to have seen him just take a lash there.
Yeah, great combination up the left side between Julio and Pedrinho. A combination that led to the Dallas goal.
And I don't think Pedrinho's had, he certainly hasn't had a great game. I'm sorry, he hasn't had a bad game. Wouldn't say it's been great, but he's been pretty good. But I've been really impressed, again, with Anderson Julio. He was the one that really sort of made that chance for Peter Musa.
That trade with Real Salt Lake, sending Sam Junka and allocation money the other way. RSL, similar to Dallas and Houston in the fact that they've had a ton of roster turnover this offseason, including Chicho Arango, their star striker, going out to San Jose. 3 teams in the West that are looking to find a new identity. It looks like Dallas, at least in the early returns, can be happy with their addition out of Sandy, Utah.
I tell you who I think's been quietly pretty good today is the left side of Dallas' defense. I think Ibiaga's looked solid, and as Houston gets a little loose in possession right in front of the Dynamo bench there. And I think Farfan's done a really good job over there with Griffin Dorsey. I think those two veterans have looked like veterans today.
Yeah, interesting to see. You know, we talked about the center back situation a little bit, but the fact that Ibiaga's on the left with Abubakar on the right. In Portugal, they were switched, so getting different looks. As the ball from Paas looking for Farfan, flicked on, but possession won back by the Dynamo. McGlynn out to Sviatchenko, makes his way forward. Now Dorsey wide right. McGlynn with time on the ball. That can be dangerous from a Dallas perspective. All the way back to Mikhail. And now Kamungo putting the pressure on as Houston build up again on their left side, the near side for us from our vantage point. Quick combination in the attacking third here from the Dynamo. McGlynn's going to line up a shot, and that one, no deflection, is just behind for a goal kick.
Second shot of the since intermission for Houston. Don't have FC Dallas with the shot, still sitting at 7, which they had at the half.
Well, if you can't get enough of your favorite soccer club, check out the FC Dallas Agenda, our brand new FC Dallas podcast. We've got exclusive interviews. We've had head coach Eric Kuhl, we've had Andre Zanata, and most recently, Logan Farrington. We've got, of course, plenty of team access. The FC Dallas Agenda has everything you might want from a podcast perspective. Subscribe to the FC Dallas Agenda podcast everywhere you get your podcast offerings. Myself, Steve, and our very own Garrett Melser convening weekly to break down all the DTID that you need. Musa leading the press there and asking for his teammates to join him.
Yeah, again, just not quite on the same page. We didn't see a lot of that in the first half, but second possession in a row where Musa gets ahead and he's reading different press triggers, it looks like, and just got a little frustrated that he's up there sort of on an island pressing.
Dallas able to win it back in the middle. Diego Garcia uses his frame well to shield the ball. Julio trying to go forward with that first pass, turns over, and that means it's numbers in the attack for the Dynamo. Dallas in retreat. Shaq Moore defending against Kowalczyk onto his left foot. Kowalczyk with the shot, palmed away by Pass. Breaks at the top of the box for a volleyed second effort. Comfortably over the bar from Artur.
Pass hasn't been called on to make a lot of big saves today, but that was maybe his best of the afternoon. Maybe that collection at the back post off the free kick early in the match. You think of another one that where he was tested just a little bit?
No, that was mid-season Martin right there. Did enough to not only make the save, but push it away from all the Houston attackers inside the box.
Yeah, they did end up with the second shot off that, but that second shot was a difficult one, headed about 20 yards.
Header from Julio as Dallas goes a little more direct. Finds Pedrinho in the center circle, but he's muscled off it by Artur.
Pace of Dallas's attack has slowed significantly, I would say. They're still trying to get forward quickly, but you know, we're still pretty early, and we're 56 minutes in. You can see they don't quite have the fitness that we'd expect to have them a little bit later.
Whistle goes there against Kamungo. McGlynn on the ground. And you can hear the Dallas fans, what they think about it. I agree with them, Steve. If we're sticking to form, what are your thoughts on this one?
No, I thought Bernie 50-50 on that one, honestly. Bernie did get the ball. He went through McGlynn just a little bit, so I think it's one that you could make an argument either way for, honestly.
Bernie Kamungo, who was a part of the early rosters in the Olympic group with McGlynn, who eventually did go to the Olympics at U23 age group last year for the U.S. Ball over the top from Tarbell. Over the head of Dorsey and out of play.
And Marco Farfan there, again, just doing a good job of dealing with Griffin Dorsey, who can be a problem over there at times for Houston. Just showing exactly what he is, a veteran defender, and that he puts just enough of a hand up, puts Griffin Dorsey off balance a little bit, but doesn't do enough to incur the wrath of the referee and gets a throw-in out of it.
Houston wins possession back in midfield, chase back now to Tarbell. Kamungo putting the pressure higher up the field. And Tarbell lifts it out to the left. Kowalczyk now closed down by Garcia. Eric Quill up off his bench, encouraging his team in the press, and they do win it back. It breaks for Leggett. Seen less of him in the opening 12 minutes since the break.
What you saw
dictating the game in that first 45.
What you saw a minute ago, Ryan, was that Bernie Kamungo reading the back pass. It looks like that's one of their press triggers right now. Being aggressive, Anderson Julio being aggressive, both those guys going together in the press. But back behind them, where's the midfield line? Are they going to get up with them and, you know, close that gap? Where's the back line behind them? And that's what Eric Quill said he really wanted to emphasize this year, keeping those lines together, making sure that as they did press, everybody moved forward as a unit.
Musa fouled there by Steris, trying to go for a header on the Martin Pass service. It'll be a free kick right on the halfway line for Dallas.
And just to close the loop on that, that's another fitness issue, I think. You know, as you know, players as they get tired, they're just not going to be able to be as aggressive in moving forward. So you got a couple of guys, you know, helter-skelter on the press, and then everybody else a little slower to join in behind. But again, I think they'll some more fitness will take care of that.
Garcia looking to bend the ball in behind. It breaks for Kamungo, top of the box with Musa there for company. Sets back for Pedrinho. His shot blocked away. Great ball there from Garcia to key the attack from the left side for Dallas. Is throwing into Leggett, who deals with the pressure. Keeps possession. Dallas now back to Ibeagha. First real chance for Leggett with time on the ball. And now Houston goes in the press. Ibeagha closed down, and it's fouled as he hits the diagonal switch. Consequently, it was under hit, but he's got the free kick.
Yeah, he got cleared out a little bit by Ponce there. And he hasn't been as much of a problem this half as Houston Dynamo, just like FC Dallas. They're not anywhere near full fitness, and so we just haven't seen as much work out of Ponce so far.
Here's Shaq Moore on a foray forward up the right side. Musa checked short and didn't receive it, and then made the run in behind. Shaq Moore played it short. There's another miscue. a preseason mishap. As we've played just about an hour here at Toyota Stadium, all even so far. FC Dallas in the first half through Anderson Julio. Sebastian Kowalczyk equalizing in the second.
And just as a reminder, we expect another 15 minutes of this one before we see the wholesale shift changes.
And we will just go ahead and head straight to a post-game show after the conclusion of this sort of starters game, 75 minutes of action. Get into some of the key takeaways from this first look at FC Dallas back on home soil in 2025. Houston in possession here. Kamungo loses his footing. There's space for Steres because of that, but Moore reads the passing lane well, makes the interception. Musa tries to find Kamungo, turns it over. Field causing some issues this time for Musa, who loses his footing, and now Houston into the attacking third. Dorsey wide right, sends the low cross in, breaks at the back post, and somehow Houston didn't find the touch to turn it home.
I think that back post run by Bassi would have been offside. Referee assistant over there raising his flag, but the danger was in that ball that was played into the right side into Griffin Dorsey, and then flashing that ball across. Really good driven low cross and causing the FC Dallas backline some worry.
Haas with the ball into the feet of Garcia, who turns and finds Farfan on the Dallas left. Last touch off Houston, out for a throw. But once the season gets started, you can watch every FC Dallas game when and where you want. With MLS Season Pass, the game is in your hands and you're in control. From exclusive player profiles to game highlights, along with every FC Dallas match streamed to your device, MLS Season Pass has something for everyone. You can visit apple.co/FC Dallas to learn more. Another direct ball from Paz. Arrives for Anderson Julio up the Dallas left. Garcia, whose influence has grown for the home side here in this second period. The Jet tripped up from behind by Bassi. Free kick for Dallas in the center circle. Moore lifts the ball in behind for Kamungo. Now towards the corner flag on the Dallas right. Back to Shaq Moore. Brief stint in the FC Dallas Academy before he started to make his way across to Spain. Spent a lot of time in La Liga 2. And in and around the national team, of course. Now 20 caps for Shaq Moore. And with guys like Areola Ferreira gone, here's Anderson Julio from distance, and that one required saving from Tarbell in the top corner. There's Anderson Julio as advertised, drawing the corner kick. Just to finish that loop on Shaq Moore, I think they're excited to have a player who's in and around the national team to anchor the back line and be that sort of steady presence at right back.
Yeah, and I think Shaq Moore might be, third choice right now, USMNT right back, and not where he wants to be, but not at all bad.
Yeah, he played at the World Cup, played in the Copa America, off the bench in both. There's been no Serginho Dest for a while for the U.S. Leggett readies an in-swinging corner from the far side. Bends it towards the back post, looking for Abubakar, headed away by Sviatchenko. Moore trying to stop the counterattack, didn't get too much on it, and there's still a chance maybe for Houston with numbers going the other way. Bassi defended well by Farfan. He had to make the tackle there, and he did.
Yeah, Shaq Moore and Marco Farfan getting their signals crossed there a little bit on who was going to take that ball, who was going to try to clear it, and they end up running into each other and almost set Houston Dynamo off and running.
64th minute of 75. Time for Mikael on the ball for Houston. He's just got his foot on top of it. Trying to key some movement ahead.
As we talk about players looking a little tired on both sides, just as a reminder that the whole idea here was for the starters to play, I think on both teams, 75 minutes. Go ahead and force that fitness a little bit so there won't be, somebody gets hurt, we don't anticipate any subs.
Yeah, the starting group played 60 in the last game against Brøndby, so just slowly building up the minutes in the tank. Dallas playing themselves a little bit into trouble here as Ibiaga closed down by two defenders. His clearance intercepted. Breaks for McGlynn now. 40 yards out. Quickly closed down by Pedrinho and Garcia. They come away with it. Pedrinho can spring the counter. Here's Kamungo in space. 3v2 for Dallas if they go quickly. Bernie Kamungo pokes it wide towards Julio. Well read. Pedrinho on the follow-up. His shot is blocked. And Sviatchenko, even in the numbers down situation, doing really well defensively there for the Dynamo. And now going the other way. Sviatchenko, the ball in behind. Martin Poss out off his line. Just about beats Ponce to it as we go end to end.
On the other side, Ryan, it was Bernie Kamungo picking out the right pass over on the left side, but just not getting the weight right. And then I think as Pedrinho comes in and picks up the loose ball, he tried to shoot from about 25 yards. I think the better option there would have been into Anderson Julio over on the left side. So not the best counterattack work there from FC Dallas.
Good work at the very least to turn over Houston in a vulnerable position.
Yeah, to get that 3v2 which you don't see a lot.
Then Houston almost had a 3v2 going the other way off the back of it.
Yeah, Martin Paz one more time, well positioned off his line aggressively. Clean that up without much worry.
A couple of shots for Pedrinho from around 18 yards that have been blocked. Does have a knack for arriving at the right time. Saw that with North Texas. Ten minutes to go here for the starters. Both sides looking to find that go-ahead goal. It's Houston in possession here with Artur. Drops in to split the center backs and dictate the play for the Dynamo. Kowalczyk leaves it for Steres on the overlap. Ball back into Kowalczyk, the goal scorer for Houston. Cleared away by Abubakar. 1v1, Abubakar wins it. Sorry, Julio wins it. And the whistle goes against him. It was a 50-50 again, but Julio got ahead to it. And he was in behind 1v1 before the whistle went.
Okay, on that one, I did not see a foul. I thought it was really two players going for the ball, going for it fairly. One player fell, and then we heard the whistle.
Bailout there for the Dynamo as Julio would have been looking for his brace and the go-ahead goal.
I guess this is where you say that, you know, the referees out here, they're in preseason form as well. They're trying to get their timing back, their fitness back, depending on what they've been doing.
Houston just with measured possession here over the last 5 minutes or so. Dallas trying to turn it over. Mikhail out as the left center back here for Houston. Finds Artur again, dropping into the back line.
You know, Dallas has settled into this mid-block again. And to me, they look pretty organized when they're in that mid-block. It's when they've been pressing that they get stretched a little bit.
Nearly had a chance there off a turnover. Instead, it breaks back for Houston. Dorsey on the overlap, chip towards the back post. And Moore makes sure it's nothing worse than a corner, which it will be. Third of the game for Houston. McGlynn across to take it. Both teams second 11 going through their paces, warming up. These lineups closer to what we expect to see on opening day when these two teams face off down in Houston. McGlynn, right arm raised, looking for an outswinger from the near side. Hit towards the back post. Sviatchenko battling with Farfan, and Moore gets a foot to it, and he's cleared out. Should have been a foul pretty clearly. It's going to be another corner instead. As much as they need some more reps defending live set pieces, every cloud has its silver lining on a cloudy day here in Frisco. McGlynn again, this time from the far side. It'll be an in-swinger. A lot of movement for Houston as it's swung in now towards the back post, and there's the go-ahead goal for the Dynamo. It was Sviatchenko who shook Marco Farfan and put his right foot through it. A volleyed effort beat Martin Poss for 2-1.
Yeah, we mentioned a while ago, Ryan, that that's the fourth corner kick for Houston, the third one that's dropped without being cleared, you know, before it gets to somebody's feet, and that time Dallas paid the price. Marco Farfan was in a pretty good position. He just lost the battle for the ball, and you got to say that was a a good, clean finish on the full volley under pressure.
33-year-old center back out of Denmark, third season with the Dynamo, grabs the goal to restore the lead. Give them the lead, sorry, for the first time. And Dallas with just over 5 minutes to respond with this particular group of players.
Yeah, you know, we talk about results mattering or not mattering. I don't really think there's actually going to be a result in this one, is there? Because what they're going to play, what is it, 105 minutes or 100, something like that?
You're asking me to do math live on air now,
Right,
Steve?
no, that's my bad. Clearly, I didn't do it very well. I guess they will sort of make it an unofficial result.
Whichever team wins will tweet the score, I think, is how it's going to go. As the whistle goes, Shaq Moore drawing a yellow card against Kowalczyk. 135 minutes, I think. 75 plus 60?
Yeah, sounds right. No, is it?
And here's going to be another talking to for Kowalczyk, who's kept his mouth running.
And he clearly fouled Shaq Moore there. I'm not sure what he's complaining about.
Words that might have got him into more trouble in a regular season game.
Usually what would happen here if there was a red card, which it looked like we got close there, the coaches would just sort of agree.
Here's Garcia, nice touch to Kamungo, edge of the 18. Pedrinho tries to find the shot, instead pokes it towards Musa. Pedrinho on the follow-up shot blocked again. Plenty of numbers in the 18. Here's Garcia with another shot blocked away. Emergency defending from the Dynamo, but they do enough. And Dallas looking to take advantage of this pressure, go quickly with the throw. Back to Ibiaga, out for Leggett. Farfan with time to measure this cross in towards the back post, but he gets too much air underneath it, and it's comfortable for Tarbell. You can stick around with us after the conclusion of these 75 minutes right here on the FC Dallas app. After every match, of course, we have a deep dive into what we saw in the game. It's the FC Dallas postgame show here on the FC Dallas Radio Network. Stick around with us for that, as we'll provide some updates from what we're seeing with that second group as we break down what we saw with the starting 11s.
Pedrinho with the first half assist. A couple of times in the second half, Ryan, I think he's maybe going to have to make some better choices. A couple of times we've seen him arriving now. There again, I thought instead of just sort of taking a speculative shot, he's got Peter Musa. Musa's good in the box, and I think maybe in those instances he's going to he needs to try to find a striker, be more of a setup guy.
Of course, that's always the difference in moving up levels, of going from being the guy to trying to work with, you know, accomplished international players.
Yep.
Clearance from Abubakar only as far as Fiatchenko.
Yeah, and to be fair, you know, it's about what is your role on this particular team.
Bossi measures a cross in. Abubakar, nice header under pressure, and Leggett sends it away. As this one winds down, Steve, we've got, of course, the FC Dallas season opener in Houston against these Houston Dynamo, Saturday, February 22nd. That'll be live, as always, on MLS Season Pass, or with us here on the FC Dallas app. What are your takeaways from this one, just looking ahead to that specific matchup? It's a bit of a weird situation, just 2 weeks between the games for these two teams.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is a little bit of a tease here. I want everybody to stick around for our post-game show.
Here's Musa with the ball in behind Kamungo, a chance maybe to equalize, cuts onto his left foot. Bernie Kamungo over the bar. In the final minute of this 75, Dallas nearly leveling things at 2, but Kamungo couldn't keep it on target.
I tell you what's key about that, though. Who one more time sets Bernie Kamungo through? Right now, to me, today at least, the team's best playmaker has easily been Peter Musa. He played a really nice ball into Bernie Kamungo, put him into a good space. Kamungo moves that ball back over to his left foot, gets around the defender. He had to hurry the shot a little bit, and at 18 yards, he just blazed it high.
If you think back to last season, we saw some of that. Didn't have as many assists, of course, as goals in a record-setting debut season. But I'm thinking about the game against Austin when he put Jesus Ferreira in behind. The quick combination at the left, ball in behind, perfect weight on it for a finish that one.
So going back to what I was saying about our post-game show, we're going to talk about which players out here are going to be starters when they actually play for real and which ones maybe won't.
Ball out wide for Dorsey. Final minute of the 75. Houston looking for a third goal. Dorsey whips this in. Martin Poss able to claim. Maybe a chance for a counter. 30 seconds or so remaining. He rolls it out to Shaq Moore.
Houston finding a little bit more joy in the second half, or second, whatever we're calling the second period. On the wings, Dorsey over there on one side, Bassi on the other side.
And in some ways, it's the start of the chess match between these two teams that will continue into that home opener for Houston.
I thought, I said a while ago, I thought Marco Farfan had handled Griffin Dorsey pretty well, but just in the last 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, Dorsey, I think, finding a little bit more joy on his side, getting some good crosses in.
And that will do it for the opening 75 minutes today between Dallas and Houston. Houston coming back in that second 30-minute period to grab the result here, 2-1, if we're even calling it a result. It, of course, is a preseason match. The first chance for Eric Quo to lead his group of starters out here at Toyota Stadium ends 2-1 in favor of the Dynamo. We'll step aside for a quick moment and we'll break down all the action here on the post-game show. Thank you so much for joining us on this Friday morning, and we'll be right back on the other side of this break.
The Toyota Tundra's powerful, available iForce V6 engine means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. To your neighbor, it means helping them with their new chainsaw carving hobby. To your cousins, the Tundra means as they jump off the boat onto the sandbar. To your co-pilots, the Tundra means an extra comfortable journey. And to you, the Tundra means whoa. Test drive the Tundra at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. See packages and options at Toyota.com for feature availability.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey, I'm Jackie, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit is the chicken. It is golden brown, so juicy, so delicious. It's the perfect savory start to my day.
Hey, I'm Matt, and the little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit is the freshly baked, flaky, buttery biscuit. When I take a bite, it's kind of like, crispy, soft, crispy. Crispy outside, soft interior, crispy chicken. There's really nothing like it.
Start your day with the Chick-fil-A Chicken Biscuit, available on the Chick-fil-A app. Real Chick-fil-A guests paid for their testimonials.
It's time for the FC Dallas postgame show on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
Well, after 75 minutes here from Toyota Stadium, it was FC Dallas 1, Houston Dynamo 2, in a very strange 2 periods of a 4-period preseason friendly. The result really doesn't matter in this case. It's more about what happened between the lines, which is what we're going to talk about here on the FC Dallas postgame show, which today is brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. Also brought to you by UMB Bank. See how UMB can help you achieve your business goals. It was 1 goal in the first half for FC Dallas. That went to Anderson Julio, but 2 Houston Dynamo goals across the second 30-minute period of the 75 that was played by the starters gives the visitors the lead, I guess, win, whatever. It doesn't really matter. There's going to be 2 more 30-minute periods. If we see anything of that from the reserves, we'll let you know. But the important part has already largely happened here at Toyota Stadium, at least the part that we want to discuss. And for such, we bring in our commentary team for today's game, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis. And Ryan, I'll start with you. It kind of felt like a bit of a tale of 2 periods for Dallas, where that first period they take the lead and they look a little bit stronger. But then as the fitness wore on, Houston was able to catch them a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's honestly my biggest question mark for the style of play that Dallas wants with Eric Quill. And we've seen how much running they've done in preseason training. But first of all, we play in the Texas heat during the summer, and how much of that intensity, that pressure, those quick counterattacks are you going to be able to sustain over 60 to 90 minutes? I think that'll be a key for the team this season, because you're right. I think they came out strong, a lot of good chances on the counterattack, got the lead in the first half, and then sort of faded. Of course, the corner kick goal is something that has started to become a trend in preseason, not a positive trend, but that's something they'll continue to work on as we go towards that opening game in Houston in a couple weeks.
I tell you what, one of the things you just talked about, the fitness issue, what are we seeing right now? These players just played 75 minutes, and what are they doing? They're running wind sprints over there. So that's something they will continue working on. And we've commented on this about how we've seen more fitness work in the preseason under Eric Quill than we had previously under the last two coaches. So that's something. And then on the corner kicks, Ryan, okay, whereas I really tried to talk you guys off the ledge a little bit on that one, I might be edging my way out toward the ledge on it now because not only the goal, but a couple of them dropped in there. Two other corner kicks dropped in, had to be cleared with the feet. You never really want to see that. So they need to clean that up a little bit. But, look, it's an early season rollout. I think there are more good things to talk about than bad so far.
In that case, Steve, this is the first 75 you've seen from this squad. Obviously they've been in Portugal the last couple of weeks. Putting the fitness in the corners aside, what was your general takeaway from this one?
Well, you can't quite put fitness all the way aside, Sam, because what I'm going to tell you here is I think we really saw what Eric Quill wants them to be, and they were able to be that for about 20 minutes, and then the fitness just wasn't there to keep it going. So I didn't see a lot of pressing. So what it looks to me like is they're going to put the legs into the quick counterattacks, into the getting forward quickly, getting everybody forward quickly, getting numbers forward quickly, getting in behind on some real darting runs, and then not as much emphasis on pressing. Where we saw them get into a little bit of trouble was in a couple of areas. On the pressing, when one guy would go or two guys would go and everybody else wouldn't follow, they look pretty good when they fall back into a mid-block. They look pretty organized there. And then the other place they got into a little bit of trouble was on the build-outs. And we talked about it at halftime, how teams that play aggressively forward, play vertical, when you ask them to build out, they haven't spent as much time on it, as much time as, say, Nico Esteves or Lucha Gonzalez worked on the build-out pattern, so they're just not quite as good at it. What they're good at is, and what they did well today, what I think we want to see out of this, what Eric Quill wants to see is good early outlet passes that sets the counterattack or the transition attack in motion, and then finding good lanes in behind. And they did both of that for about 20 minutes. So I think as it goes on, we'll hopefully see 30 minutes and then all game with that.
Yeah, and I think in those two games in Portugal, we saw a lot more pressing, to your point, Steve, than we did today. But I think to analyze that a little bit deeper, Houston was going direct on almost every goal kick. They weren't going to try and play out of the pressure. I think acknowledging that they've lost Carrasquilla and Herrera, they weren't going to risk, playing themselves into bad situations. So I think maybe in a different game against a different opponent, the press will be there, and in a different climate, maybe when it's not as hot, you can do more with your legs and your fitness. But I think Houston going direct definitely kind of went over the Dallas press, and because of that, they tried to play more in the mid-block and then create those counter chances.
I'm curious what we think, and Steve, I'll start with you on this one. It seemed like for that first 15 minutes, we really saw Dallas get high flying. We saw a lot of that Eric Quill intensity. But then it seemed like maybe not so much the fitness in that spot, but Houston kind of started to pick up on it, and they started to make adjustments. They started to have the counter punch to your punch. So for Dallas, what is going to be the counter punch to that counter punch? Because it's not about the first set of questions, about the second set of questions. And it seemed like Dallas is still looking for those answers right now.
Well, it's a good question, Sam. I think what happens is that once Houston sort of figures out what Dallas is doing, to your point, now they're going to put a little bit more pressure in the places where they're having problems. And then, as you said, it's just a sort of okay, I've solved a problem. Now you solved the problem. And I think the issue there is Diego Garcia is 18 years old. He's not going to be right now as good of a midfield problem solver. So once they start making adjustments, now you've got to change your positioning a little bit. You've got to create some variance in there. And Diego Garcia did just fine today for being as young as he is. The other thing is Pedrinho. He's your playmaker. He's in there trying to figure things out at another level. So I'm not quite as worried about that. I think the first 20 minutes shows you what the team wants to be. After that, now we start talking about how these guys don't have the experience now to make the little micro adjustments around the field, and that's okay. That's going to happen. And I think once we see Show and Ramiro get back in there, and if they bring in a number 10, those will be the kind of players that can make some different adjustments and can start figuring things out a little bit on the fly.
Ryan, this is our first chance stateside to see Lawless Abubakar and Sebastian Biaga play together. You saw it a couple games in Portugal. Now we've got 75 more minutes. Obviously, Ibiaga's been here. This is Abubakar's first season in Dallas. What are your takeaways from them both today and combining that with what you've seen previously from them?
Yeah, I think Sebastian Ibiaga was pretty solid today. I liked a lot of what I saw from him. He also won a header on a corner. He couldn't quite get it on target, but he was a set piece target. And I know the team is also excited about having Abubakar as a set piece target, as someone who's difficult to handle in those situations. Defensively, I think they did okay. Abubakar in particular had some clearances that I think he would have liked to put a little more behind, get it out of danger as opposed to just presenting possession back to Houston down the field. So I think, there's some positives to build on, but I think also, some things that I'm a little bit concerned with, especially knowing these are your only two senior center backs at this point. Now, we expect that to change. We expect them to bring in some reinforcements sooner rather than later, hopefully. But as of now, that's your starting two, and I think they showed both their strengths in terms of defending the box pretty well, but also their limitations. When Houston sat back, they're not the type of guys that are going to pick the passes to unlock the defense. So I think we saw kind of both of them for who they are.
Yeah, I thought Abubakar was a little shaky for about 10 or 15 minutes, looked a little awkward on some clearances. I thought he settled in a little bit, so that was good to see. By the way, I'm going to tell you, as we're sitting here speaking, the team out there is still running 80-yard repeats with very short rest intervals.
And Houston's long since gone inside.
Yeah, so, clearly, Eric Quilley wants his team to be very fit, and I really like that. He wants the team to be very competitive, in those individual battles, and a lot of that is just about fitness. So, yeah, going back to, the back line, Abubakar, he just looked a little awkward on some of the clearances and some of the different sequences, but I thought the veterans, Ibiaga was good. Marco Farfan was very good, at least for about 60 minutes, and I think after that, that's where Houston started. They found a couple of goals in that time, so or at least one goal. They found the eventual winner there from Sviatchenko, but I thought Shaq Moore was solid enough. So the back line right now for me, barring any injuries, I think this looks like what they're going to start with, and they don't look that bad.
So I want to use this topic to springboard into a bigger conversation, Steve, that you brought up. But if you had to give a gold star to someone who really helped their cause today, someone that, they could be a starter that really did well or someone that elevated themselves on the depth chart, Steve, I'll start with you. Who do you think gets your gold star today?
I think Sebastian Lletget and Anderson Julio were the best players on the field.
You can't take mine. You only get one gold star.
Yeah,
I
you
get
only
the
get
other
one.
gold
That's
star.
true.
Fair
you
enough.
Take two.
Fair enough. Okay, so I'm going to give it to Sebastian Lletget.
Okay.
Because I really thought that he was very tidy on the ball, which we expect. He made safe choices on the ball mostly for about 15 minutes. The last 15 minutes of the first half, he started getting a little more forward, and he really made some things happen. A really good moment as he found his way down the left side, picked out a couple of other really good passes going forward. As he's picking out passes all over the midfield, of course, but as he got a little further forward, he was picking out dangerous passes. So he was also helping Diego Garcia with his defensive positioning. It was Lletget and Garcia in those two midfield holding roles in the 4-2-3-1. So my gold star goes to Sebastian Lletget.
Well, in that case, I will, spoiler warning from you, but I'll give my gold star to Anderson Julio, who got the goal for Dallas in the first half. Not only that, he probably had the other two best Dallas chances early in the game, 7th minute. Had a left-footed shot that he kind of scuffed, but he got in behind well on that one. Got in behind again later after his goal and had a cutback cross that was for Shaq Moore. His shot was deflected, but that was another good opportunity. And then in the second half, sort of his trademark, pulling up from way out, like 30, 35 yards, put it in the top corner and forced a really good save out of Tarbell. So I think of the new additions in particular, he was the standout, and there's a lot of excitement around what he can bring to Dallas this season.
I'll add one more. I thought Martin Paz looked like Martin Paz. Really only called upon to make one good save, a couple of other opportunities that he had to be pretty quick on. One ball, a good free kick played into the back post, and passes out, catching that one comfortably in traffic. 2 or 3 other times, reading the game very well, good starting positions, good aggressive action off his line when something could have been dangerous if he's not really on it quickly, and snuffed those out no problem. So I think Martin Paz had a really good day as well.
One thing to add on Julio is it seemed like whenever they were going forward on offense, Dallas seemed to have the idea of, in case of emergency, find number 11. Pedrinho did it a couple times. Kamungo did it a couple times. If they needed to make something happen, they were really focusing on getting it to Julio, which speaks to his skill set and what Dallas is trying to do. But the Gold Star conversation leads to the idea of in 2 weeks, specifically 15 days, we're going to see these two teams line it up and kick it for real. And of the starters today, and for those who may be just joining us, it's Paz, Farfan, Abubakar, Biaga Moore, Garcia, Leggett, Kamungo, Pedrinho, Julio, and Musa. I'm counting there, as I was doing a little count here. I can count 9 reasonable starters in that group that I think will go on to Houston. But I'm curious, if you're writing out the lineup card based on the information you have right now, how many of these guys would go on, or maybe the better question is, how many of these guys wouldn't go on to start against Houston? Steve, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I think you got it about right. I would say that Diego Garcia is going to be a good player. Right now, he's maybe not an MLS starter, especially as Show and Ramiro get back into some form and fitness. Fitness first for them. And then Pedrinho, I thought, did pretty well. Well enough, to stay in the conversation. But and right now, I guess he is the starting 10. I mean, at least he's the first choice right now in Eric Quill's mind. But we know they're still looking for somebody that can add a little bit more creativity in the center of the park. So maybe he's the other one that you look at. Bernie Kamungo did okay. I don't think he did great, but I think okay is okay for him right now. So between those 3 guys, those are the ones that I would say they still have their case to prove.
Yeah, I would pretty much stand right in line with what you guys said. I think in terms of competition, because you can't just think about those guys, but you think about who might come in for them, and we're looking at the group that's about to take the field for this second period. You've got Siki and Sabalang, who can play in either of those 2 midfield roles. You've got Patrickson Delgado, who similarly can play 10 or sort of more as an 8. They're about to play in the second group. And then you have Logan Farrington, and we were kind of talking about before the game how it feels like, a lot of people are like, he has to play, which to his credit, he was so good in his rookie season. You do want to get him on the field as much as possible. So does he play in the number 10, or do they tweak the tactics a little bit? Because defensively, they're in a 4-4-2. So you could play with 2 strikers, and Pedrinho was up alongside Musa in a 4-4-2 kind of mid-block for most of this game without the ball. So how much different does that look if you have Logan Farrington in that role? That's another option. So I think those guys are all, in a battle for a spot in the starting 11. None of them played themselves out completely of the thinking of Eric Quill, and I don't think any of them, wrote themselves in pen for that game down in Houston either.
Yeah, I think a couple of the names you might mention there, Leo Chu, the trade acquisition from Seattle. I think he might still have something to say about it, but clearly right now he's running behind the other wingers.
And he's injured today, so he's not, just to be clear, he's not playing today in either group.
And then Nolan Norris, I think, depending again, and here's where we have the conversation about Eric Quill and how much he's going to trust youngsters, and I think he's going to trust them. I think he wants to build the team, again, sort of get back to that FC Dallas DNA where you're building through the homegrown. So we see that he's going to start the second stanza here, whatever we're calling this one. So just a couple other names that we're going to start adding to the conversation there.
I think it's fair to say that the only bolt-on midfield starter, if we consider the 2 holding guys in the 10 as the midfielder, is Sebastian Leggett. He's going to be somewhere as long as he's healthy. Any other job seems like, whether he's at Leggett's at the 68 or the 10 doesn't really matter. But those jobs right now are open with Ramiro and Show both having issues setting them back in camp. So it'll be curious to see where Quill goes with that. When we mentioned Logan, there was this is my obligatory plug for the FC Dallas Agenda podcast every Wednesday on the FC Dallas Radio Network. He had a great quote with Garrett in his interview this week. He said, and I quote, "If it's a winger, I'll play winger and I'll enjoy it. If it's a 10, I'll play 10 and I'll enjoy it. If I play 9, I'll score goals and I'll enjoy it." So at the very least, he's willing to do whatever it takes to get on the field, which you do like to see, even if it may not fit the plans. As we kind of look over what we saw here today, again, Dallas loses, 2-1, plays 75 minutes of 2-1 soccer. I don't know exactly what we want to call it. Let's talk a little bit about the Moose himself, Peter Musa, because he didn't notch a goal today. But, Steve, you made the claim that he was the best playmaker on Dallas through 75 minutes. And I don't – or today through 75 minutes. What do you think that says about what Eric Quill wants to do with the Moose this year?
I think it says a lot about what he is as a soccer player. I think he's a good, smart player. I think he's maybe a little bit underrated as a passer. We saw him today playing Bernie Kamungo into good spots, playing Anderson Julio into good spots. I think he's got that in his game. I thought he was the best setup man, although with apologies to Pedrinho, who I think did some of that and got a really sweet assist on the goal.
Yeah, and I think to see those different elements of Moose's game is a positive for me because we know what he can do in the box. Today, the team didn't really get the ball to him in any dangerous situations. You know, the chance that Pedrinho didn't find him in the second half was the only time I thought maybe they could have done better to set him up. But he was the one setting up for his teammates today. And with the addition particularly of Anderson Julio, who's going to be that goal dangerous winger off the left side, I think that adds more to what Dallas can do in the attack. Now, granted, you want to get Musa in goal-scoring opportunities. We saw what that can do for the team last year in his all-star debut campaign with Dallas. So I think it was a positive to see some of those more kind of false nine qualities of playmaking in addition to what we always expect him to do, and that's score goals.
Guys, as we talk about any preseason, any sport, anywhere, I think one of the things people are going to want to know, Ryan, I hope I'm not putting you on the spot here, but why don't you take us through what we're about to see. Tell us who is running second at every position out there with the second-team FCD lineup here.
Yeah, it's Logan Farrington leading the line. Herbert Endley, interestingly, playing as the right winger instead of a right back. Tariq Scott off the left wing. I think Leo Chu would have been in one of those two positions, but he misses today's game with an injury picked up in training. Midfield three is Nolan Norris, Siki Sabling, and Patrickson Delgado. Those are three guys that are in contention, I think, for a start in MLS sooner rather than later. And the back line is very green. You got two academy products, Josh Torquato and Ian Charles. Ian Charles, the center back, Torquato at left back. Momo Cisse, the draft pick out of Penn State, is the left center back. And Enzo Newman, the draft pick who is signed out of Oregon State, is at right back. So that's your 11 with Collodi in goal. A little interesting to see Collodi in goal over Antonio Carrera as those two kind of battle for who's going to be second in the pecking order behind Martin Paz. That's the 11 for the second group, and those are guys in each position who are fighting to make their way into that 11 in Eric Quill's mind.
I'm curious. You bring up Collodi, and I wanted to bring this up in the pregame show. We just didn't get there. We know Paz is the bolted-on starter at goalkeeper one, barring any sort of chaos or injury. But we haven't really talked a lot about the goalkeeper two battle, mainly because they've been in Portugal. Ryan, you've seen the guys work out. We'll start here with you. What do you make of that battle to be the backup to Martin Paz, who's going to get some starts with Paz being on international duty this year?
Yeah, and I think Drew Keyshawn probably has his own personal thoughts, of course, as the goalkeeper coach that he's keeping close to the chest for now. But to me, it's a coin flip, honestly, between the two of them because, both have had plenty of good moments from North Texas SC. Collodi, the goalkeeper of the year in Next Pro last year, and Antonio was probably the standout for NTSC of anyone that played the year before that. It was a rough season for the Dallas second team, but I think they both got similar resumes. Obviously, different type of profile in terms of goalkeeper. Carrera, a lot taller. Collodi, more of a Nick Raimondo build, but he's very good at playing out of the back. So I think he's just as in contention as you expect between the two of them, whether one goes out on loan or, whether it's 2 and 3 and one plays in North Texas. It'll be interesting to see, but it looks like Collodi might be just slightly ahead of Carrera at this point, considering he's getting this start in the second group.
Yeah, you said it might be a coin toss. Well, right now that toss has come up Collodi because he looks like he's a little bit ahead. And, we talked about this the other day that I don't think it's really going to do either Collodi or Antonio Carrera any good to sit third team. So really, it wouldn't surprise me if one of the guys is picked to be the backup goalkeeper and the other one goes out on loan. What would you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because you have a conversation about floor and ceiling because I think Antonio Carrera, his profile, his height, his experience with youth national teams means he has a pretty high ceiling, but he hasn't really shown a high floor, and that's kind of what you want out of a backup is somebody who's going to come in and not make any mistakes. Collodi, can he be that guy? And we've seen, like I mentioned already, Nick Raimondo. You don't have to be the tallest goalkeeper to make a living as a goalkeeper in Major League Soccer. So could he be that guy that's just a high floor and can spell Martin Paz when needed, can play when Martin Paz is playing for Indonesia? I think that's maybe where they're leaning. That would send Antonio out on loan and let Collodi be the backup, but that's only from what I've seen and no real type of insider info.
The only guarantee I can make is if Drew Keyshawn has thoughts, they are loud thoughts, whatever they are. I can pretty much assure you of that regardless of the context. Well, as we steer towards turning off the open sign here, do we have any final thoughts on the 75 minutes that we saw today from FC Dallas and the Houston Dynamo?
Just excited to be back.
Yeah, we're back. I mean, it was a interesting game. I think both teams are in a period of transition with their roster, and I think the 11s that they put out today are far from the 11s that they'll see midway through the season, but they are close to the 11s we'll see in Houston in a couple of weeks. And points are on the line then as much as points are on the line in July. So work to be done for both sides, positives to take. I think Anderson Julio stood out the brightest for anyone in the Dallas uniform today, and that's a positive for one of the new signings to come in and make an instant impact.
I would agree wholeheartedly with that. And with that positive note, we bring the FC Dallas postgame show to a close for this chilly February early afternoon. The next time you'll hear us, the next time you'll hear Ryan and Steve is with Garrett on Wednesday for the FC Dallas agenda. That'll be on the day of the second friendly against Tulsa, though that's closed door. No broadcast of that, so all the mystical secrets will be held within the confines of Toyota Stadium. But the next time you'll hear us on the FC Dallas Radio Network is February 22nd. MLS is back. It's opening weekend. It'll be Houston versus Dallas at Shell Energy Stadium. We will be live from Houston, bringing you all the action. That one kicks at 7:30 Texas time, so pregame will begin at 7. But for engineer Barry Walters, for Steve Davis, for Ryan Figert, I have been Sam Hale. You've been listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
The preceding broadcast has been a presentation of the FC Dallas Radio Network.
UT Southwestern is building a future without cancer. It begins with a discovery that becomes a breakthrough, that inspires the new treatment, that transforms the care, that changes your story for good.